Center in downtown Tulsa, AT&T Sportsnet presents Houston Rockets basketball, as tonight it's the revamped Rockets and the OKC Thunder in the preseason opener for both. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our coverage of Rockets basketball right here on AT&T Sportsnet alongside Matt Bullard. I am Craig Ackerman. It is certainly great to be back with you after what was a busy and very productive offseason for the Rockets, including the transition of ownership from Leslie Alexander to Tillman Fertitta, and Matt, of course, the acquisition of a future Hall of Famer in Chris Paul to go alongside another future Hall of Famer in James Harden.
Yeah, I would say that the Rockets have the two best point guards in the league, and you look at their career numbers, you see a lot of assists and a lot of steals from those guys. But last year, James Harden playing that point guard spot was the only player in NBA history to have 2,000 points, 900 assists, and 600 rebounds. So Harden is coming off of his best season. And then Chris Paul is a guy who's probably the best point guard of our generation. But last year he shot 5 threes a game and shot 41% from that three-point line. So I think these two guys are going to be very good together.
Yeah, the Rockets now have the luxury of having at least one of the league's top premier playmakers on the floor at all times. Now, the wild NBA offseason certainly wasn't confined to the Houston area, as the Oklahoma City Thunder added both Paul George and Carmelo Anthony.
There's no doubt that their talent level has gone way up in Oklahoma City. You see the career numbers for Carmelo on the left, last season numbers for Paul George on the right. And these two guys are going to be able to play together as well. Now, Russell Westbrook is the guy who will not be playing tonight, but he is a part of that big three for OKC. And without Russell Westbrook tonight, we're not going to see exactly how they look, but I expect that OKC is going to be right up there at the top of the Western Conference this season.
The thing, though, for the Rockets tonight is we may see how they're going to look come the regular season with the condensed preseason schedule. Mike D'Antoni mentioned that he's going to play as close to as possible as you might consider for the first game of a preseason in terms of his regular players in regular rotation minutes. So I think this is going to have a little bit extra oomph, Matt, as far as a preseason game is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. The players before the game, they're all talking about how excited they are for this season. Tonight is the first chance they're going to get to show everybody how excited they are.
All right, coming up, Kevin and Calvin will shine their preseason spotlight on PJ Tucker as we get you ready for the Rockets and the Thunder right here on AT&T Sportsnet.
Oh, Russell Westbrook had an injection in his knee earlier today. He is not going to play in this one tonight as the Rockets get set to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder, the lid lifter on preseason basketball here in 2017-2018 season. He's Calvin Murphy. I'm Kevin Eschenfelder. Let's talk about one of the new faces that you're going to see plenty of tonight. You're going to see him not for his scoring skills, but for the other end of the floor. You're talking about PJ Tucker.
Well, when you start talking about defensively, what he's brought in for, he don't stop anybody one-on-one. He's going to be a great container. He's going to contain and make the individual he's guarding have to work.
James Harden knows firsthand. PJ Tucker was the guy that, with that strong physical body, he can guard guys like that.
Absolutely. What he does is take them out of their comfort zone.
All right. So that is our AT&T Sportsnet spotlight shining on PJ Tucker. Rockets and Oklahoma City Thunder. Craig Ackerman, Matt Bullard have the call of the game. It's coming up next on AT&T Sportsnet.
Welcome back to Tulsa, everybody. Alongside Matt Bullard, I am Craig Ackerman as we get you ready for the Rockets and the Thunder in our first preview of what's to come in the regular season. Houston took 7 of 9 from OKC last year, including a 5-game series win in the opening round of the playoffs. Let's meet the starting lineups tonight for this for both ball clubs. And that starting lineup for the Rockets are Paul, Harden, Capella, Anderson, Ariza. That will be the group that will take the floor 2 weeks from tonight for the Rockets tip off the regular season in Oakland against the defending champion Warriors. And for the Thunder, that should be 4 of their 5 usual starters. No Russell Westbrook tonight. He had a plasma injection in his left knee 2 weeks from tonight. And, Matt, a lot of people are excited about that guy right there, Chris Paul, for good reason. But I know you're also excited about the Rockets' prospects this season because of the additions of guys like PJ Tucker and Luc Mbah a Moute, who will really help give this team a defensive identity that they're really looking for.
Absolutely. Everybody knows the Rockets' offense was spectacular last year. It was their defense that needed to improve. And PJ Tucker and Luc Mbah a Moute are both defensive-minded guys. but they can both shoot the three ball as well. So you throw in Eric Gordon with those guys, and they got a bunch of guys that can shoot, but the Rockets' defense should be improved this year.
Last year, the Rockets, the second best offense in the league, the 10th best offense in the history of the NBA, but they finished 17th in defense, and their goal this year is to become one of the 5 best defensive teams in basketball, as we have a redo, as a clock issue right off the bat here in Tulsa to begin the preseason. But it is certainly great to be back. Thanks to all of you for joining us here this season on AT&T Sportsnet. And Matt, this should be another fun one in the great city of Houston. As your officials for tonight, John Goebel, Nick Buchert, and Tyler Ford.
Yeah, I think everybody in the city of Houston, everybody who's a Rockets fan is excited about this season. And, you know, we got new uniforms, we got new uniforms for the refs. It's going to be a fun year.
Those games last year, as Chris Paul, one of the best in the business, picks the pocket of his former teammate Raymond Felton right off the bat, and then he assists to James Harden. Wow, how about that start to the preseason?
James' first shot of the season was the easiest shot he's had since he's been a Rocket. That was a wide-open three that Chris Paul gave to him in transition.
Chris Paul, one of the best defenders in the league, in addition to his ability to create not only for himself but others. And on the ensuing rebound, a foul on Houston as Clint compelled Steven Adams.
Now here, Chris Paul just picks Raymond Felton's pocket right there. Chris Paul averages over 2 steals a game in his career, and that leads to the wide-open three for James Harden. They're going to make the game easy for each other this season.
So the Thunder here with a reset 24. Paul George with it for the first time. And turns it over. 2 possessions, 2 turnovers. Hard with a Euro step. The kick in the corner, wide open. Ariza for 3. And it will be OKC basketball.
Well, already the Rockets' defense looks better, doesn't it? A steal by Chris Paul.
Most recently from New York, mentioning earlier, Paul George coming over from the Indiana Pacers. Long tooth Felton. And perhaps the happiest guy in the Rockets locker room is going to be Clint Capella, because that guy is going to be on the business end of so many lobs this season. And there's the first turnover for the Rockets. Block there for Harden on George, and then Capella hustles to save the loose ball. Rockets last year basically shattering every three-point record the league has ever known. Anderson. He misses in the corner.
But really nice pass there by Chris. He picked out the open man on that play, and Ryan had a wide open look.
And there's a foul up top. James Harden getting into the chest of Paul George. James last year, a remarkable season. Career-high 29 points per game, a career-best 8 boards per game, and he led the NBA in assists with a career-high 11.2 per pop. Finishing second to Russell Westbrook for MVP is Carmelo Anthony. Now, his first points as a member of the Thunder. And it's going to take a little while to get used to both he and George in the Thunder orange and blue.
And last year, the Thunder didn't have very much space in their offense. So with Paul George and Carmelo Anthony on the roster, they're going to have a lot more space to operate.
Yeah, they were the worst three-point shooting team in the league last season. As they get the ball back last year, just under 33% as a club from beyond the arc. They were a middle-of-the-pack team in terms of their efficiency on offense, top 10 in terms of their defense. Felton nearly dribbled himself out of the possession, and then Ariza stepped into the passing lane, and it's 5-3 Houston.
Incredible pick-and-roll defense there by Chris Paul. He didn't get the steal, but to try to show you on the telestrator how Chris Paul's defense is going to really impact the Rockets.
Yeah, terrific as a defender on the pick-and-roll. Little size mismatch there. Stripped it away from Paul George. Chris Paul already everywhere here in the opening quarter of his first game in a Houston uniform. Hard the runner.
Craig, this is going to be so much fun this year. Take a look at the Rockets with 4 steals already, and the Rockets want to play fast, so if they can get steals, they're going to be unstoppable.
That basket will count, plus the contact on the arm, so an and one coming up here for Carmelo Anthony. Ryan Anderson picks up the personal. It's
It's going to be interesting to see how Carmelo changes his game now that he's away from the New York Knicks and here with Oklahoma City. And, of course, we're not going to get a great look at it without Russell Westbrook playing tonight. But I think Carmelo's game is going to be, now that he's probably the third option in the offense, the game's going to come a lot easier for him, and it's going to be good as he gets older.
Hits the free throw. In his career, Carmelo averaging 24.7 rebounds on 41% shooting from three against Houston. Oh, how about that? No-look bounce pass to Clinton, and then recovering to block it out of bounds is one of the better defenders in the league in Paul George.
Great pass here from Chris Paul. This is where Clint's got to finish. That's great defense by Paul George, but Clint's got to be able to get that in the basket.
Houston 7, Carmelo 6. And a foul on Paul George as that pass was at the ankles of Clint Capella.
But you got to be ready. When Chris Paul has the ball, you have got to have your hands ready because that ball is going to get to you in a hurry.
Harden from Capella in the corner. Battle on the weak side for the rebound. Poked out of bounds by Ryan Anderson. And Matt, that's another area where the Rockets want to get better at, is specifically on the defensive glass when it comes to rebounding. They were a solid offensive rebounding team last year, but overall they do want to become a better rebounding team this season.
Yeah, that's one of Ryan Anderson's stated goals for this season. Is he wants to be a better rebounder than what he was last year.
Carmelo, again, he has scored all 9 of OKC's points as they take a 2-point early lead here in Tulsa.
I think Carmelo may have just moved from the third option to the first.
The drive-in kick, left-hand corner three this time for James. Felt all kinds of trouble getting it across midcourt. Finally does. Again, Anthony jab stepping on Anderson. This time takes him off the dribble. Draws another foul.
That's a tough matchup there for Ryan Anderson. Carmelo's really more of a 3 than a 4, and Ryan is certainly a 4. So Ryan doing his best to try to move his feet there, but Carmelo Anthony is one of the greatest scorers of our generation. Certainly in Olympic basketball, he's the all-time leading scorer.
33 years of age, 25 points per game for his career. Spent the last 6+ seasons with the Knicks as he misses the free throw. And we're going to have our first substitution of the ball game for the Rockets. The NBA's 6th man of the year, Eric Gordon, checks in for Chris Paul. Ironically, two guys who were waiting for one another.
Yep. But this is our first look at what the rotation is going to look like. Chris Paul is going to come out early. Eric Gordon's coming in early. And then James will probably come out of the game when Chris Paul is ready to come back in.
Yeah, Mike D'Antoni has mentioned probably 14 minutes together as Ariza knocks down the 3 for James Harden and Chris Paul in terms of the first 43 minutes or so of the game. And then the last 5 minutes, of course, they'll be on the floor together, and that will be out of bounds. But I know there was a lot of external concern, Matt, back here in Tulsa. Rockets with 10, Carmelo with 10 for the Thunder as George misses. Luke Ba-Mute has checked in for the Rockets. He's been terrific so far in training camp. Skip pass across to Eric Gordon. That one in and out, no good. George with the Euro step on Ariza for 2.
Yeah, that was a real nice move from Paul George. And OKC is going to be tremendous in the transition game as well this year. Get Russell Westbrook back, and they're going to be a high-paced team.
Now, the Rockets last year 3rd in the league in pace. The Thunder were 8th in the league in pace of play. Clint gets fouled, barreling his way into the paint. Not a shooting foul as he was passing off into the corner, but Carmelo Anthony picks up the personal.
And you notice that pass to the corner, Ba-Mute was not in the right spot. He had already drifted up to the top, so that's a little mistake there. Luke's got to stay in that corner.
Well, nearly a turnover there, and I think Clint also got away with what probably should have been a foul as he sort of hip checked and or prevented Adams from getting to that loose ball. Houston will have it with 10 seconds on the 24.
Adams, one of the most physical players in the league. Now, Clint's added a whole bunch of weight this year, so he's going to be a little bit better, but Adams is just a giant.
George harassing Harden, threads the needle down low. It's a mad scramble, and it's Robertson who comes away with it. Robertson, terrific defender in his own right. Carmelo fell on him. So it's already the 5th shot attempt for Carmelo here to start the ball game. The sports runner gets blocked. In the corner, Belt, he misses the 3. Rockets come the other way, scoreless on their last 5 possessions.
Great call. Paul George stood in front of Clint Capella and fell down. Left side of your screen, you'll see Clint running down the floor. Paul George is trying to draw a foul. They call a block, which I think is the right thing because this is away from the ball. It has nothing to do with the play. Don't reward the defender for falling down right there. Good call.
5:23 to go in the opening quarter. PJ Tucker is in for the first time, and in this lineup, he will play the 5. The center spot, Nene, is out due to rest here tonight in the preseason opener. He's back from an injury last year that sidelined him in that San Antonio series, and he's fine. He's out tonight due to rest. And so PJ Tucker, who frankly can defend all 5 positions on the floor, will play the 5 in this lineup for Houston.
And I like to see this lineup early because this is the lineup that the Rockets are looking forward to having to match up with Golden State.
And I'll admit, PJ Tucker's a guy who I've been quietly campaigning to have on the Rockets for years.
Just to keep him from guarding James Harden.
Absolutely. Right? I think he's going to be a great fit here. And he knocks down the 3.
He's a great fit because he's a great defender and he's tough, but he's also improved his three-point shooting over his career. Going to be a perfect fit for the Rockets.
He's mainly been a guy who's camped in the corner, so that was a rare top-of-the-key 3 make there for Tucker. But he is a guy who will get in your face and will add a degree of toughness that this team really needs. Wide open again, Felton. This time, swishes one home.
The Rockets a little bit mixed up on that weak side. James and Eric Gordon trying to figure out who had whom. And in the NBA, players do not miss wide open shots very often.
Boy, the first game right out of the bat, your English is on point. Who had whom, right? Who had whom? I think you said that correctly. Good for you. Turnover for Houston. Not so good for them. Belt penetrating.
That's one thing with this lineup if you don't have a large center like rim protector.
Losing his balance a little bit on that drive, Eric Gordon, as the layup rolled off. Block of Trevor Ariza.
This is a problem when OKC left their big center on the floor. This is probably not the right matchup. Because as you see Adams rolling in there, Trevor Ariza trying to come over there and do something about it. But Trevor was inside the restricted area and they call him for a block.
And so Adams will go to the free throw line here with Enes Kanter now in New York as part of that Carmelo deal. Interesting to see what Billy Donovan and the Thunder do in terms of their backup minutes at the 5 spot. If you recall last year in that playoff series when Houston and Oklahoma City, when Kanter was on the floor, he was completely abused by James Harden, so much so that they basically just sat him and never played him. Or if they did play him, they made sure he did not match up at the same time that James Harden was on the floor.
Right, you see Carmelo getting ready to check in for Adams. So right now OKC is trying to match up with the Rockets' small line.
This is OKC's biggest lead here at 6. Tucker penetrating. Adams with the block. Tucker deflected it, gets it back. Gets tied up. We'll have a jump ball.
A good effort by the 2 new Rockets right there. Getting that ball back. Look at that great steal by PJ. Good pass there by Luke, but just a lot of length there for OKC. It'll be a jump ball. A lot of times when you get the ball in that position, you got a few guys around you, you know you're not going to be able to get up on the backboard. You look for a three-point shooter in the corner.
So it'll be George for the Thunder opposite P.J. Tucker for the Rockets. Probably advantage Paul George in this situation. When he tips it and deflects it to Ariza, the Rockets will get another crack at it here. Approaching 3 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Ariza by Hamilton that had it stripped. Daniel Hamilton working on a two-way contract for the Thunder, and that's a new thing this year as well, Matt, in the league. Your thoughts on that? You like it?
I like the two-way contract. That means guys that will be playing in the D-League are going to be making D-League money, or G-League, sorry, but when they come up to the NBA, they'll be making NBA money. 2 guys on every roster will be able to do that.
You can spend, what, a max of 45 days on an NBA roster. Tucker moved the foot, pushed back, ended up shuffling his feet and turning it over.
I think the overall impact of that G-League two-way contract will be better player development for the NBA guys, and that's exactly what this league needs, is that G-League to develop the guys.
The NBA roster is basically expanding from 15 to 17 to accommodate the new two-way player deals, as teams can have a max of 2 guys on their roster signed to those contracts. A miss for Carmelo.
Good one-on-one defense there by Luka Mutu.
Thunder on a 9-3 run here as the Rockets have gone a little bit cold offensively. Good job by OKC defensively. The Rockets are playing 5 out. 9 on the shot clock. Contested 3 for James as he knocked it down over the top of Carmelo. And the foul to boot. So a 4-point opportunity coming up for James Harden when we return. Have to play in the first quarter in the preseason opener for both of these teams. Rockets down by 3 as James Harden toes the free throw line for the first time. He has led the NBA in free throws made in each of the last 3 seasons and attempted in 4 of the last 5 years. So a guy who obviously lives at the line, as do most of the elite scorers in basketball. Jeremy Grant is in. The Thunder have gone a little bit deeper to their bench. Robertson, not much of a three-point threat. Neither is Grant. Ball back in. Deflected the ball, but also apparently got a piece of the arm as well, so he picks up the foul. And free throws here for the Thunder. Opening night presented by Toyota is Saturday, October the 21st, as the Rockets take on the Dallas Mavericks. Doors open at 5:30. Go to Rockets.com to secure your opening night tickets today. Grant knocks down the free throw. Last year, the Thunder shot in at about 74.5%, which was good for 26th best in the league, as they attempted the 4th most free throws per game as a team, due in large part to that of Russell Westbrook and all the fouls, free throws he ultimately took.
By Chris Paul back in the game, but Eric Gordon bringing the ball up. Interesting.
Tucker looking for some help. The long arms of Robertson. Got a piece of the ball, then when he couldn't secure it, trying to get it back, ended up bumping and knocking down Paul. So Robertson with the foul, and that will result in free throws here for the Rockets with $1:53 to go in the first.
Looked like the Rockets were trying to get Chris Paul the ball on the weak side, kind of a secondary action to give him some room to operate with the defense a little bit broken down. That's one of the things that I think the Rockets are going to be very good at, is being able to use secondary options here this season.
For an exclusive game day experience, reserve a Toyota Center suite. This turnkey hospitality experience includes tickets, catering, and VIP parking for private groups ranging from 15 to 100 guests. This is a first-class way to grow your business, strengthen existing relationships, and simply enjoy a night out at Toyota Center. Call 713-758-7296 to book yours today. Paul the line, a career 87%er. Knocks them both down. Turnaround is missed by the Thunder. Hamilton gets the rebound back, goes to Robertson for the dunk.
Rockets have got to secure that defensive rebound. We've already talked about it a little bit, Craig, but that's one area where the Rockets have got to be solid, is getting those defensive rebounds so they can get out on the break.
And the ball was tipped for Paul, and everybody claiming the ball was tipped, including Matt Bullard.
Yeah, that was good defense by Carmelo. He blocked that three-point attempt, but OKC got the ball back.
Well, he missed that by a good 2 or 3 feet. Had to have been deflected. And Rockets would get the ball back.
Traveling on Carmelo. See, he doesn't agree with the call, but Mike D'Antoni's still talking about the previous call where the ball was tipped and referees missed that one.
Ball fouled by Grant. And back to the free throw line, he will go. Shot 89% last year at the line, did Chris Paul. Of course, in the final year of his current contract, after spending the previous 6 seasons with the Los Angeles Clippers, the Rockets his 3rd NBA team, beginning with New Orleans for the 32-year-old. Look at his numbers last year with the Clippers.
And we talked in the pregame about how well Chris shot the three-point ball last year, 41% on 5 attempts. But he's also one of the best mid-range shooters over the last decade in the NBA.
Yeah, the last 3 years, only Kevin Durant shoots it better in the mid-range than Chris Paul, who's at 48.5% from the mid-range, which, of course, is something the Rockets historically, at least in recent years, that's going to be over and back, and the Rockets are going to get it back. Something the Rockets last year is they attempted the more percentage of threes than any team in NBA history, but what Chris Paul will do in terms of his prowess in the mid-range will allow the Rockets to at least diversify.
With that, the way the Spurs played the Rockets in the playoffs was, as you see the foul there by Ferguson, but the Spurs were able to take away the Rockets' primary option in the playoffs. And so now when you've got James and Chris Paul on the floor at the same time, the primary option can be taken away, but the secondary action is really where the Rockets are going to get their biggest, especially against good defensive teams like the Spurs. The Rockets are going to have a lot of success.
Yeah, after game 1, Greg Popovich put Pau Gasol in the center spot, sagged him in the paint to protect the rim. They really defend three-point shooters well, and the Rockets' offense, by their standards, certainly struggled from that point in that series as we have a foul and free throws coming up here for the Thunder.
Ryan's got to get over there and take that charge. He got over there, but he didn't really commit his body. And that's kind of a veteran preseason move right there. 3 fouls on Ryan.
Yep.
See, as a veteran, you know, at the preseason, you're not going to go over there and totally give up your body because you don't want to get hurt in the preseason.
So the free throw is good there for Daniel Hamilton, the NBA rookie out of UConn, spent last season playing with Oklahoma City's G League team, the Blue. Originally drafted by the Nuggets in the 2nd round a couple of years ago. Paul whips it out to Ryan Anderson.
Wow. That is beautiful basketball right there. Ryan Anderson with a wide open look. Just because Chris Paul can break the defense down by himself.
Rockets regain the 2-point lead. Melo going to ISO here on Tucker. Late double for Anderson. Robertson fumbled the pass. And so the shot clock is off, and the Rockets with a chance to score the final points here in the opening quarter. Game clock down to 3. Paul will pull up for 3. And that'll do it. We've played 12 here in Tulsa, preseason opener, and the Rockets up by 2 against the Thunder. After 1, the Rockets lead the Thunder by 2, 27-25. And Matt, some changes league-wide to sort of help the flow of NBA games with some new timeout rules.
I like this a lot. 4 fewer timeouts in the game overall. There's no more 20-second timeouts. Every timeout is going to be considered a team timeout. They've eliminated a break in the 2nd and 4th quarters. And then at the end of the game, there's going to be far fewer timeouts available to the coaches, which is going to make that flow a lot better.
2nd quarter underway. Paul coming around a couple of screens.
Got a mismatch.
He's taken 2 shots, both of them threes. Shot clock winding down. Tucker over Anthony in the corner.
That was good defense by OKC. They've got good length on their team.
They've always had good length on their team. Going back to Kevin Durant was on their roster. Serge Ibaka. Robertson cutting, stripped by Paul. Got it back. Carmelo up top. A bit strong there, but the offensive rebound for the Thunder. Robertson for 3.
Where was that last year in the playoffs?
Yeah, he shot it really well in the playoffs. However, in the regular season, he was probably the worst three-point shooter in the entire league at under 25%. Paul, great court vision again. Gordon can't get off the shot.
Yeah, give OKC credit, they're rotating.
An offensive foul going to be called on Luke Mbamute.
OKC, their rotations are quick. They're covering up those open shooters, and then the foul there on Bahamute setting a moving screen, trying to give P.J. Tucker an open look. Take a look at this screen right there, and that was a moving screen.
It's a 2-point game. Rockets, though, outscored the Thunder by 13 already in terms of points off of turnovers, roll those steals. George, tough shot. Good defense by Bahamute. Gordon trailing the play, and he knocks down the three. That's number 6 for Houston.
The Rockets figured out that last year they were at their best offensively when they scored the ball in the first 6 seconds of the shot clock.
Hamilton trying to answer, can't. Rockets again looking to push. Gordon, can it be 2 straight? It will. And that was tough. That was over the top of Hamilton.
That was 18 seconds on the shot clock right there as well. So the first 6 seconds is a very big key for the Rockets offense. They want to really push it and try to score early.
Rockets now with their biggest lead of the game at 8 after trailing by 6. Another strip, another steal. Tucker with Adams on his hip pocket, keeps him there, and lays it up and in. As the Thunder are forced to call a timeout as the Rockets score yet again after forcing a turnover. Another look at it here. Tucker with the strip, and then decides to finish it himself. It's a 10-point Houston lead. P.J. Tucker doing a little bit of everything for the Rockets in his debut here in the first half in Tulsa. Just picked up the steal and score, has 5 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist to boot. As the Rockets bench a plus 12 in terms of the scoring discrepancy and bench points to start this ballgame. Former Rocket Isaiah Cannon is in, just recently signing with them, and he knocks down the 3.
The cannonball. Used to play for the Rockets.
He did not have a good go of things last year with the Chicago Bulls. Gordon again, coming off the pick. Drills another 3.
He's hot. When you got a player that's hot, you got to get him the ball. Feed him.
You remember last year, before that stretch in January where the schedule was just a beast for the Rockets, Eric Gordon, the first couple of months of the regular season, was basically playing like an all-star. Shooting the ball just as he has done it here in this first half. Adams on Anderson, the duck in, and then the shot make there with the left. Eric Gordon, the game's leading scorer now with a dozen. Carmelo has 10. Bahamute wide open.
What a pass. What a pass. Behind the back on the run. Perfect for Luke Bahamute to step into a 3.
11-point Houston lead. Tested Jay there for Carmelo. He's got 12. Ball double behind the back again. Anderson will squeeze one off.
Man, give me a uniform, Craig. There are some open 3s out there.
Wow, Chris Paul hasn't hit a shot, but impacting the game on the defensive end and his passing has just been superb. And that was off the fingertips of Paul George.
Let's take a look at this on the fast break behind the back, right to Luke, right in stride, drained it, and now another one behind the back to Ryan Anderson, who can drill it from deep. Man, so much fun to play with great point guards that look to pass first. You know, I think one thing about Chris, another behind-the-back pass.
Another one for Anderson. This one a deep one. Missed it short. Offensive rebound for Clint as he's back in and gets bear-hugged and fouled by Adams from behind.
That's a scouting report. When Clint gets the ball around the basket, teams are going to foul him, force him to go to the free throw line. Of course, the Rockets not in the penalty here, so they'll take it out on the side. But
just the first foul, though, on the Thunder here in the quarter. 7:31 to play in it. James Harden has returned. Chris Paul stays on the floor. Little handoff there. Anderson hesitates, steps left, clears a couple of defenders, misses an offensive rebound for James. Back to Paul for a 30-foot 3.
Oh, man. Anybody who was wondering if Chris Paul and James Harden could play together, well, here's your answer. There's answered it already.
There's his first make in a Houston uniform. The Rockets now 6 made threes here in the second quarter. As they can just overwhelm you, they'll step back to the free throw line for George. That's short, but a foul is going to be called on Clint Capella. Battling for that rebound as he apparently got Adams. 15-point Houston lead here midway through the second. Bad pass, deflected in the backcourt by Clint. Adams able to recover. And then shot clock not in sync.
Just a great staff.
I think Clint picked up another one. George really lost another one in a late whistle and a foul.
Let's see if he gets him on the arm. Hard to tell from that angle. Paul George reacted like he felt like he got fouled.
A little playground attempt at the steal from behind. Felton with the awkward floater, but it counts nevertheless.
Those are the kind of shots right there that Clint has to erase. He's got to be a rim protector, knock those shots back out to the outside.
Yeah, another area where the Rockets need to improve defending the paint. Capella misses at the rim. The Rockets gave up more paint points than any team in the league last year as their opponents shot a league-high 67% in the restricted area as the Rockets' ball pressure, headlined by Chris Paul, forces the Thunder into yet another turnover. Thunder weren't exactly a good paint defensive team either, as they were 29th in the league in paint points allowed. Harder with the turnover. George, another deflection though by Chris Paul. He's everywhere.
You know how when you watch players play on other teams and how they defend your guys, and Chris Paul always getting his hand on basketballs. Ooh, nice shot by Paul George. And one opportunity.
And James is arguing that should be one of the points of education that the NBA has gone into this season with their officials in terms of whether or not they're going to call those fouls or not. Well, shooting fouls or common fouls. James arguing that should have been just a common foul, but it was a shooting foul nevertheless. This week on a brand new edition of Rockets All Access, the launch of a new season brings championship aspirations. We'll sit down with the dynamic duo, CP3 and the Beard, who are excited to share the same backcourt. All that more on Rockets All Access, only on AT&T Sports Net. Hard foul. Will they give him an and one? No. They will not.
You mentioned a little bit about the shooting foul or on the floor foul, and also continuation is something they're trying to tighten up this year as well. I think that should be continuation, but the officials say no. You see the entire Rockets bench react, thinking that should have been continuation, but we'll see how things are going to change with the officiating this year.
Basically comes down to the sequence of play, as James Harden has a couple words for Raymond Felton, saying, "You pushed me."
It was actually Paul George pushing James into Raymond Felton, so the foul was on Paul George.
Capella off the dribble, and one.
And Clint, his maturation as a player has been spectacular. Now he's taking the ball at the elbow, putting it on the floor, and getting to the backboard, drawing the foul. He has really improved in his first few years in the NBA. See what he did last season in 65 games. I expect even better production from him this year.
Speaking of improvement, this guy has improved as much as any player in the league at the foul line. Still not great, but he shot 53% last year at the free throw line. And towards the end of the season, he was close to 70% at the free throw line. Just a remarkable improvement for Clint in that area. As John Lucas worked with him a lot last season, and it showed. Got to the point last year, Matt, towards the end of the season, when Clint was at the free throw line, nobody worried anymore. Tripping foul on Oklahoma City, as Ryan Anderson ended up falling on his hip and slow to get up.
He had all of his weight. Watch how he gets tripped, and all of his weight right on his hip when he hits the floor.
And they bump knees, too.
Ouch. A lot of guys wear pads nowadays, and I'm not sure if Ryan is one of those guys, but I'm sure he'll be wearing pads next time.
Got a couple of guys out there for the Rockets who got married this offseason, Ryan Anderson and Trevor Reason, so congratulations to them.
A couple newlyweds, and Ryan looked pretty trim, too. He lost about 10 pounds, so he's had a great summer.
Don't miss the Rockets annual Fan Fest for food on Saturday, October the 7th at Toyota Center, starting at 10:30. This free event features music, games, rides, autographs, and a team practice for free entrants. Bring non-perishable food for families in the community impacted by the storm Harvey. Visit Rockets.com to purchase autograph passes and for additional details. Of course, very rough time for everybody in the Houston area a month ago with hurricane/tropical storm Harvey, as the recovery in our great city continues. Boy, there are bodies all over the place. It's going to go against Oklahoma City.
And they call the foul on Adams for, I don't know, a clip, personal foul, moving screen.
Takedown. That was like a DDT right there.
Whatever that was, you can't do that in basketball.
What's that? What's the meme that's out there? Randy Orton. What's that called? Where he takes people down? Somebody will probably let me know on Twitter, but that was a wrestling takedown there by Adams.
Well, I go all the way back to when I grew up in Iowa. Real wrestling, that would have been a 2-point takedown there. Dan Gable and the guys.
Okay, that name does not ring a bell. Foul by Paul George on the late closeout.
Let me help you with the Google there. Dan Gable is an Olympic wrestler, one of the greatest wrestling coaches of all time at the University of Iowa.
Okay. You say so.
You weren't a big college wrestling fan growing up?
No, not a fan of the Big 8 wrestling back in your day. Did you go to wrestling matches up there?
No, but everybody knows who Dan Gable is back home.
Oh, the RKO is the finishing move of Randy Orton. I think that's what Adams ended up doing with Trevor Reason, or at least